Good afternoon and welcome to our first in a series of Arts in the Classroom, implementing the curriculum with music, movement, and the message. Oftentimes we talk about blended learning, education, and the things which talk about implementing various technologies in your classroom. But what is essential for our students is that we find ways to not only implement what they know, but how they learn it. We talk about kinesthetic learning as well as artistic development. Those things provide an insight to students in their auditory, movement, and various ways that they can participate and still be excellent students. Today we have a phenomenal panel. We have Ms. Barnes, Ms. Estes, Mr. Berry, Ms. Leachman, Mr. Cunningham, Ms. Paula, Ms. Lisa, and Ms. Rush. Together, this panel represents decades of educational experience as well as classroom management in the arts. So, I'd like to start today by allowing Lisa and Paula to tell us a little bit about some of the things that they wanted to share.
There are many reasons to integrate the arts into your classroom. They are languages that all people speak, and it cuts across racial, cultural, social, educational barriers. They provide opportunities for self-expression. They develop both independence and collaboration. They make it possible to use personal strengths in meaningful ways. They improve academic achievements such as test scores, attitude, social skills, and critical and creative thinking. They develop higher order thinking skills such as analysis, evaluation, and problem finding. They provide the means for every student to learn. There are 10 skills children learn from the arts: creativity, confidence, problem solving, perseverance, focus, nonverbal communication, receiving constructive feedback, collaboration, dedication, and accountability.
One way to bring the arts into your classroom is through music, and that's what we're going to demonstrate today. Memorizing all mathematic facts is something that everyone needs to do to move on to the next stepping stone. I think if you remember when you had to memorize them, I had to sit with paper and pencil every day when I went home, write them, and then when you finally almost had them, you got to rip out the flashcards in the back of the workbook and use the flashcards, which you thought were going to be so much more fun, but realized it was just flashcard after flashcard after flashcard. So that's how I had to memorize all my facts, and I'm sure many of you have stories too that didn't bring enjoyment into your life on knowing how to memorize them. But what we do find in the classroom is that if that's the way that we teach them now, children, one, have difficulty memorizing them, and two, it's a longer process than it really needs to be. So Paul and I are going to show you what we put together today to show you how you can use music in the classroom to teach. We are going to use multiplication facts, and we're going to be using the fact 5. You can do these with addition, subtraction, and also division. Using music with facts, it actually can become fun. And with Bloom's taxonomy, you're just not using memorizing, you're actually taking them to a higher level thinking and taking them all the way to creating, because at the end the students will be creating a song with the facts that they memorized. The first sample we're going to give you is we are going to show you how we would do this. And the first thing we would do is we would spark the students' interest by using a video. Quick load it. And the video is skip counting by 5. to stop it there.
35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60.
That was just a sample of the video. That would spark the students' interest. If you heard the repetitive, raise your hand in the air. So at first the students might just listen to it. You were a very quiet group. But I know in the 5th grade classroom, the students would start raising their hand, they start clapping their hands, they start stomping their feet. And now I have everyone's interest, and they're kind of like, okay, what are we going to be doing next? Even if they didn't get the whole skip counting by 5. So I would start the lesson by making sure that they understand what multiplication is. The product of two whole numbers, or the shortcut to find the answer to a repeated addition problem. And we talk about how 5 plus 5 is the same as 5 times 2 on the board. Then what I would have the students do is I'd have them create flashcards. However, it just wouldn't be flashcards with numbers on them. They could do numbers at the top and then a picture at the bottom. Show me that 5 times 2, or show me in numbers, and then show me using a picture to represent what 5 times 2 would be. Maybe 2 groups of 5 candy bars. Okay? So then moving on from there, while they're creating the flashcards, because they are drawing pictures, it will take a little time. We're going to introduce a new song of multiplying 5s, and we actually got this from musical mathematics skip counting. It comes with a book.
And it comes with a student book, and it comes with the teacher edition that gives you ideas of what to do.
So while they're creating the flashcards, we would be listening to this.
Get up out your seat. Start moving your feet. Do your dance to the beat like this, y'all. Get up out your seat. Start moving your feet. Do your dance to the beat like this, y'all. Let your feet come alive as you move to your thighs. Come on and clap your hands like this, y'all. Come on. And clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap your hands to your thighs. Oh, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. That was just one sample. On the CD, there is country music, rock and roll, some rap. So it's just a nice variety of different music.
And in the books, they give you the lyrics so your kids could have a copy of them and know what to do.
And obviously this wouldn't be a one-day lesson, so we'd reintroduce that song a lot. And then finally, once we feel that the students have grasped the concepts of the 5s, the multiplication facts of 5s, they would write their own song. They'll create their own song. They'll choose if they want to do a rap, if they want to just do a song. And their job will be to teach their song to the students. And that was the last thing we did. We actually had the students create.
What is that ancient device that you're pulling out?
This is a tape recorder, and the reason we decided to use a tape recorder and not tape them on an iPhone or something, because we want people to know that if you're using technology, you don't need thousands and thousands of dollars. You can get a nice tape recorder at the Goodwill for probably about $2 or $3.
And this is part of your listening centers that are right in your room. They have the earphones, and we all have listening centers right in our room.
So that's why we chose to tape them. So this is actually the 5th graders. They made this up. They we're very excited to share it with you.
The only thing we told them that they needed to do was like have a little intro, and then rate at like 5 times 5 is 25. Then they kind of break because that's how they work, and then they had to end it. So that's all we told them, and this group made this up.
Come on, kids, let me hear you do the 5th grade facts. 5th grade facts. 0 times 5 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15.
letting them create their own song. First of all, we always have the student in class who is taking their pens and beating, and normally we say to them, stop that. Well, now that child is actually having a huge role and also learning at the same time. I think another amazing thing that happened is after we let the whole class hear it, the kids were actually talking about multiplication facts in their conversation and didn't even know it. Like, wait, were you 3 times 5 is 15? You know, no, I wasn't that one. I was 4 times 5 is 20. So they didn't even realize that they were talking about multiplication facts, but they were talking about the multiplication facts. And also, another great thing is that a lot of times we think we know what's in with music, and maybe more people do than I, but the kids are making up beats and songs that are familiar to the other kids that they can relate to more than me coming in, with my my era of music and trying to create a multiplication song for them. So the kids really enjoyed it, and it was much better than sitting with just the regular flashcards as we did as kids.
I think one really important thing that you mentioned was the Bloom's taxonomy of how it's one thing to teach someone something, and it always reinforces that fact to me that it said that you have to hear, see, or say something 7 times for you to really remember it. So as you're creating your own song, after making your own flashcards, after being shown it by the teacher, after getting the original teacher-led instruction, that's 4 indications right there. And then as you go back and say the song to somebody else, by the time you've done those 7 things, your times tables facts or your mathematical facts become something that sticks with you. Dominique, I know you work with younger kids. Are there any opportunities where you've seen before where people use music in learning particular facts?
Yes. Our class was in a pie contest, meaning 3.14159, and they was like, kindergarten kids can't learn that, and I'm like, yes they can. So I put it to music, and everybody should know, well not should know, but this beat. So I told them 3.14159265535, and we kept doing it, and the more we did it, they were able to add on more digits, and I was happy to say that we had 40 digits learned, and we beat our whole entire school.
So you're telling me that the kindergarten class learned 40 digits of pi?
Yes, we did.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Off of music, and that's one thing we learned, that our kids do better with music. They love music, and everything we did, we had to put it to music in order for it to stick. So we also did the alphabet song, so to get them moving, and so they won't be all sluggish and things in the class. So we say, get up, we're finna march. They start marching, we go, A says A says A, every letter makes a sound. A says A, B says B, B says B, every letter makes a sound. B says B. So those things help them, and they go throughout the day singing the songs, and it was great for them to learn at such a young age with the music.
That sounds phenomenal, and it's learning with music is not a new thing. All of us at the table, I'm sure that we learned our alphabet through the traditional alphabet song, and so as it worked, good teaching practices don't often change. We just find tools to modify them and make them applicable for our students, and so choosing different genres of music to match whatever our students are interested in has been really successful in our classrooms. Ms. Estes, I know you worked at an arts-focused institution. Can you share anything about this with us?
Well, what I've found is that certainly adding or the addition of music and movement into learning really helps to stimulate the brain. You get into looking at the multiple intelligences as well as giving students opportunities who are not necessarily high academically, other ways that they can learn and achieve. And so it almost creates a level playing field for those students that are not gifted academically, where they could just, from the top of their head, call out numbers. When you start to add the music and movement, it really creates a different avenue for those children. I had the opportunity of working at two sites. One was a middle school site and one was an elementary site. And what we found is that when you add those types of things into the learning environment, you do go to, as was mentioned earlier, the higher levels of bloom. So you move from the basic knowledge comprehension area to your higher synthesizing, analysis, creating, which gets students into being more critical thinking and problem solvers. So I'd say that this is the best thing for students, and as you said, it's not something that's new. We had to learn certainly our alphabets, and in learning those, it was more fun to us to learn them with music. You did not get excited when you had to recite them without the music, but when you put some music, you began to not only put music, but if you found later, you added movement. And so you got to, instead of LMNOP, sometimes people went through LMNOP, trying to put it together. And so this really adds value to teaching and to the strategies. If we're going to actively engage students in the learning process, this is the way to do it.
And I think you said something that's so key, is that you have to actively engage them in the learning process, not teach at the students, but involve them. One of the teachers on our campus did something that I thought was so phenomenal. They were assigned a music class, and so students learned all the basic music technology, music composition, and then they were learning the quarter notes, half notes. As you can tell, I like music a little bit. So, and so the students were assigned to write their own verse and chorus. And so the students were all thought, oh, I'm doing a music assignment. But really what it was it was forcing them to use their vocabulary that they had been taught in English to try to describe words. And so the teacher then would say, oh, I need something more descriptive. What do you mean when you say cold? Is it frigid? Is it freezing? And so then the students would, while they thought they were in a music class, then they would be forced to do English concepts. Then again, just like you were saying, making students be more on a level playing field. Because even though they felt like they may not be stellar English students, they thought that they had this music thing down. I rap with my cousins every day. And so,
and it brought their natural talent.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean? It bring their talent out there. It'd be phenomenal.
And I think when we allow them to bring their natural talents into the classroom, they're more apt to want to come to the class. And when you want to do something, you're more
go
prone
harder.
to try harder to be successful at it.
I would agree. And you challenge them in ways beyond, just the normal routine in a classroom, because for students that were doing the taping may decide, hey, I want to move to the video. That might be my next level.
Right.
So in looking at the creating piece of that, you are really working their brains and getting them to think, hey, if I'm able to do this, then I can really stretch now my imagination and go to the next level.
I'm glad you brought that creating thing up. Ms. Barnes, you were telling me the other day about how you were able to allow some students through your instruction to do some creative things with movement. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. Yes, as you all were saying earlier about music and dancing, well, in my class, I used to have the kids in the class to learn that there are various types of dance movements, various kinds of music. It's just not one type. And like I will have the kids do folk dancing, square dancing. They didn't like it, but they got into it. They learned to get into it. And like hokey pokey, and we used to do the bunny hop. So then after we finished those dances, and I let them go into the dances that they were used to doing, I would let the kids get involved, get into groups, and they would be able to perform. I let them practice every day in the corners, and they would get teams of 4 or 5, and they would have to perform, learn a dance, and in 2 weeks, I would let them come together and we have a program and let them entertain the class with doing their dance rendition that they had gotten together. And the kids enjoyed that. It was excitement. And some of the kids did jazz, some are ballet dancing, some of the kids did praise dancing, some of the kids did gymnastics, some stunts and flips and stuff like that, but it was things that they had created themselves in their group and were able to show their talent, and they were really excited about it. And then it went so far till they would ask, could we show our talents to the other classes. So I would bring the other gym classes in, and then I would let those same kids come and show to their activities to this class, and the other kids show theirs to the other classes, to the smaller groups. And that really made the kids, and they were excited about coming to class, and they had learned that there are various types in the process, that it's not just this. Hip hop is not just this the only thing, because some of our kids are just hung up on the hip hop and they think that's the only thing alive, that's all they want to hear, hip hop and rap. There's other type of music, there's jazz, there's classical, you know, and so they got a chance to learn the different kinds and to learn different dance types also, and it worked well.
So if I hear you correctly, in your physical education class,
Yeah.
not only were you able to do the requirements that were by the state standards, but you were able to expose students to different genres of music.
Correct.
Then you were also able to teach them the different patterns that went along with those different types of dance movements. And then take it all the way to the next level and allow them to create their own dances.
Exactly, and it was phenomenal. You just wouldn't believe the way the kids, some of the dances that they came up with. And I was just like, man, and then some of those kids, and then after they saw that, ooh, I could really do something. Some of the kids actually thought that they couldn't actually do it. Some kids didn't want to do it at
Right, they
first.
tell me
And
something.
then when they got in a group with other kids, I kept saying, you can do something. I know it's something you could do. Everyone has to get in a group. You have to participate in a group. And then someone was just like, something, I know if you could do the introduction of the group. You may not be able to do dancing, but you could come out and introduce your group. So you come out and speak and say, this is my group is about to perform such and such, you know, like that. And then they'll come out and do their performance, and then they sit back and they were like, oh man, it was good, you know, it's great. And then, so everyone got a chance to get involved. It wasn't just like 4 or 5 kids. Everyone in the class had to participate. And it was fine, turned out well. Now when you all were talking about the numbers and counting, we did do some activities on that same level also with some of the kids. What we would do is, for instance, if a math class was dealing with fractions, or I would ask, get groups and set them in the classroom. And then I would ask math questions. Okay, from the lessons that the math teacher had taught earlier, and then they would sit in that group. I have about 4 groups, and we'd ask questions, and then we get numbers. The ones that got the most points would be able to participate and do X amount of performances during that classroom. You know, it's like, for instance, if we ask 5 plus 5, and that group, first group hands up, that group get it. That's a point for this group. That's 1 point. Then 1 point for this group, and one, you know, like that. And when the kids with the most points were able to do more activities that day, I would, you know, certain things in advance.
That's great. That's great. Mr. Cunningham, I know you also attended an arts focused high school. How did you see how arts impacted students who were there?
There's one class I didn't like, and then when I did creative writing, so I hated English, but I loved writing. I didn't like to correct it. But once I was stuck in that class for 2 hours, you better learn to like it, you know, or you just gonna be bored. But it turned out good.
Okay.
Doing something you like to do for 2 hours a day.
So if I hear you correctly, even subjects that you don't like, when you show a student how it impacts that they're interested in, then it gives them an opportunity to excel in that area. Ms. DeBerry, you had some things that you want to share with us today?
Certainly. As of right now, I'm going to treat you guys as if you are my actual class. So this is a gym lesson, but it can be tailored across all subjects. So to set the tone, I would simply ask you guys, what is some sports that involves throwing a ball?
Kickball.
Basketball,
Baseball.
football,
All right.
soccer.
I like the choices that you have set. So what we're going to be doing today is that you're going to be throwing a ball at a designated target to make a goal. So the learning intent is that you're going to work on improving your ball skills, you're going to build cooperative teamwork skills, and also game strategy skills. And then you'll get an excellent workout at the same time. So some of the vocabulary that I need you to remember is teamwork, throwing, exercise, and just a game, because that's simply what this is. And the materials that you need is just simply a crate or a box and some type of ball. So before we would do that, I want to let you know that this is a 5-day lesson. So for Monday, we're going to look at the science aspect. Tuesday, we're going to look at the language arts. Wednesday, we're going to look at social studies. And on Thursday, we're going to look at math. And then on Friday, we're going to tailor all of them, and you're going to choose one and then let that be your focus area. So as of right now, Sam, I need for you to demonstrate how this game is going to be played. So meet me over here. So as you can see, we have our box, and we'll just set this up as our goal area. So Sam will demonstrate, and then the rest of the class will trail behind him. The object of this game is for you to work on your throwing skill, and I need for you to get this ball in that box. So see if you are able to do that. Good job, Sam. So then I would place it over here, and then I would have him try again. How about you try again? And then he didn't make it, but we wouldn't criticize or make fun of him. So when you guys get your turn to go up there, you will simply just try to get a goal. And then notice the math concept would be changing the angles. We didn't always keep it in the same place. The science would be, maybe we would talk about gravity, the speed of the ball, how fast did it travel. Language arts, I would want you to write a paragraph on what it was that you did. And then another assessment that I could do is, did everybody participate? Were people just standing around? You needed to retrieve the ball, you needed to throw the ball. And then was everybody actively engaged? And then finally, I would ask each student, what could you have done to make yourself successful? Even though he made it the first time, but when we changed the angle, he didn't make it. So what could he have done to make that shot? And that would be the lesson for gym, for movement, and then covering all of the subject areas.
That's good. So sometimes we think about the traditional arts. We think of people doing classical music, and there's tons of studies that talk about Beethoven and listening to Beethoven and how that intrigues the brain. And then sometimes we think about the classical dance movements and how you have to learn the poses, your périers, and all your different ballet movements, and all those things are important. But what's really important to realize is that as you're getting students moving, talking, and you're involving music, that all those things provide different avenues for students to be involved in learning. So far today, what we've learned not only includes music with researching things, it includes the movement that we've learned, but it also includes non-traditional ways in which you can participate in implementing arts into your classroom. Ms. Rush, did you have any questions for us on today?
Sure, I just have one, possibly two questions. As the group sitting here, I want to know exactly how your parental involvement or parental response was to the music being incorporated. As the children went home, what kind of comments you received? Were the parents enthused, which made them want to learn as well in that concept?
Well, I would like to answer that just by saying that one of the things that parents like is parents like to see their children perform. So having them do the gym activity, inviting the parents, or having the parents able to come watch the performance, I'm sure a lot of parents would have came. And then you're actually having the parents see what they're doing in the classroom. So I do think that this is a great way to engage parents. Performing them, the students love to perform it. And if you can put a student up on a stage, of course as a parent, the parent wants to come and see them. And then the parent in the same way would be able to see what they were doing in the classroom.
Anyone else?
I think for parents, it's truly a different way they think of learning, different strategies being utilized in the classroom. And then for parents that have students that have difficulty learning, they see it as an opportunity to assist their child in a better way. I could see a lot of parents, especially with students that struggle, seeing it as an opportunity where they can work at their potential through different avenues, whether it's music, whether it's movement, whether it's dance. And I think that you will find that more parents will be involved when you begin to integrate arts into the curriculum. That's one of the things we found working together in our school. More parents wanted to come and attend all of the events, be a part of the events. Even when our students traveled to different schools, parents went along with them, overwhelmingly amount of parents, because they see it as an opportunity.
And you know, I did have some parents too, you know, show up in my class when we did that activity. And some of the parents were saying, you know, well, at least they're getting a chance to get their exercise in some way, you know, because, you know, they don't see it, kids don't see it as exercise when they're dancing. But as long as they're moving like that, you know, that is still exercise. And then with the, so the parents said they appreciate that. Some of the kids that were not communicating as well in school, they started communicating better because with the groups, working in groups like that, got the kids to start to communicate better in the classroom also.
And where I came from, you'd be surprised, like, I didn't think none of these parents worked because the auditorium was packed with nothing but parents.
Mm-hmm.
And this is matinees, this is during the day where they were supposed to be at work, but they was coming to see their kids, you know, perform.
They love to see the kids.
And see, I love that because for the learner that's tactile, that's kinesthetic, that, you know, that might be a visual, you create so many opportunities for that child to be successful. Because the average teacher does not teach to all of those different learning styles. You've got to make sure that your lesson is multifaceted so that you are teaching, in fact, to the varied learning styles.
When I knew it was working when the parents can come back and tell us exactly what we taught the kids singing the song, like, yeah, my child is really learning. And I'm like, they sing the song back to me and everything, and I'm like, yes, it's getting through.
I think that I just want to share two things as we close. The first thing is that dramas, plays have always been a phenomenal thing that we've done here on our campus, and not only does it work on the students' memory and expose them to learning the scripts, but presenting in front of people is a skill that sometimes people lack. If you don't present in front of people in your faith community or in a poetry contest or MLK Day, then it's a skill that when you go on a job is something that you really need to do. And the second project that we did, which was just amazing, is we created a holiday CD one year. And to see the kids be so proud of hearing themselves back on the CD and then saying, oh, that's me saying that one word right there, you know, don't you hear me, don't you hear me, you know. And so I had a student who had to graduate at least 7 years ago now, which really says, but they still were quoting the song lyrics to the song. I'd forgotten that we had even done that song. And so even if a teacher doesn't have all the musical ability, spoken word has been such a interest to kids now. And so working on language arts by creating spoken word pieces gives students a phenomenal opportunity to just participate. My name is John Daniels, and we're here, and we just wanted to help you learn how you could implement the arts into your classroom. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you again.